the tale of the tape. Guerrero, the older fighter at the age of 38. Yeah, Victor Ortiz is only 34.
Right.
Even after all he's been through,
Yep.
both are 5'9", both coming in at the welterweight level. Ortiz 1 pound over, that's allowed. Reach, no significant advantage there. And you see the years professional, 17 for Ortiz, 20 for Guerrero. More peaks and valleys, I think, for Ortiz. Great moments,
Yeah.
rougher moments. But for Robert Guerrero, he's been at the top, and a matchup of two fighters who have spent years at the highest level of the boxing scene. Both challenged Floyd Mayweather for the welterweight title, and both had retired. Freddie Roach, by the way, back in there in the corner. He's got the main event, obviously, with Manny Pacquiao, but he's a busy man. And here comes Robert Guerrero with his father, Ruben. Guerrero, again, a proud career. 38 years old, and I thought he was done, Joe. I thought, when I saw him take a beating from Omar Figueroa in 2017, he said he was done. I thought he was done. This fight has been delayed, by the way. Heidi Androl has a report on that. Heidi, what happened?
Well, you just mentioned Freddie Roach. Freddie Roach did not like the way that Robert Guerrero's gloves were wrapped, and they made him rewrap them. So they had to do that. That's what the delay was all about, Brian.
All right. Thank you very much. I thought, just to go back, there's Freddie Roach in there, again, a busy man. Have you had, Joe, nights where you've got the main event and then kind of your card is being filled underneath? Or do you like to keep your main event clear? Meaning,
No,
I'm just going to get the main event, I'm not going to have the undercard.
I've done double and triple duty like that plenty of times. Yeah.
It's not like Pacquiao needs a pep talk, right?
Right. Yeah.
Manny, how you feeling?
Yeah.
I'm fine. Go ahead. Go with Victor. Let's go to Jimmy Lennon Jr. back in the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas, Nevada, Premier Boxing Champions presents welterweights in the ring in our co-main event of the evening, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Bet with the only sportsbook app that matters, and the Air Force Reserve. Start your adventure by going to afreserve.com and Cop Shop. Like big hits, Gerard Butler stars in Cop Shop. Rated R, only in theaters September 17th. Our three judges scoring this bout from ringside, we have Tim Cheatham, Glenn Feldman, and David Sutherland. All right, fans, here we go. 10 rounds of boxing scheduled in a welterweight special attraction and our co-main event of the evening. Introducing to you first, on my right, he is fighting out of the red corner, wearing white trunks with gold and turquoise trim, fighting out of Wildcard Boxing Gym in Los Angeles by way of Kansas. He weighed in at 148 pounds. With a record of 32 wins, 6 losses, and 3 draws, he has 25 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former welterweight champion of the world, introducing Vicious Victor Ortiz. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing red trunks with white trim. He is fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada by way of Gilroy, California. He weighed in at 146 3/4 pounds. His record stands at 36 wins, 6 losses, and 1 draw, with 20 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former multi-division world champion, introducing Robert the Ghost Guerrero. And a referee in charge now to give instructions, Michael Ortega.
Okay, gentlemen, we went over the rules. I want a good, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my command at all times. Good luck to both of you. Touch them up.
Victor Ortiz gone from the ring 3.5 years at a draw with Devin Alexander in 2018. Luis Ortiz is here, King Kong himself. Has been one of the top heavyweights in the world. And royalty in the house, the hitman, Tommy Hearns.
One of the greatest of all time, one of my favorites. Wow.
Oh, no question. We talk about Pacquiao going from 112 to 147. Tommy Hearns, 147, I believe up to 175. Yeah, yep. It's an all-time great, obvious Hall of Famer, and we're underway. Back from the brink, Victor Ortiz, Robert Guerrero, Opening round, they'll fight 10, scheduled for 10, and who has the most left, Joe? Again, both have stepped away from the game. Both have a lot of miles on the odometer.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to wait for a few minutes to find that out, to tell you the truth.
Watch your heads coming in. Watch your heads.
Again, two southpaws going against each other. Now, normally they'd be fighting right-handers. Ortiz is 1-1-1 against southpaws.
Ooh. Oh, good hard shot there. That was a right hook, and then a left hand from Ortiz. Guerrero looks hurt.
The punches in front, you're hitting behind. Let's go, box.
Guerrero doesn't look quite as crispy right now as Victor Ortiz. Ortiz, again, extremely talented. In short bursts, Ortiz can be a marvelous boxer.
You're exactly correct. I mean, he's really well skilled, especially on the inside. He always has been. But then again, Robert Guerrero's a good inside fighter as well.
Yeah, Guerrero is a little steadier, right? Again, you know, slow and steady winning the race. Ortiz, a more, shall we say, mercurial performer.
Right.
He can thrill, he can infuriate.
That was a nice little 1-2 hook that Robert Guerrero just threw. And I think I like him better on the outside, using his reach, because, you know, Ortiz likes to, you know, pressure you. He comes in like that, and I think he fights better in close.
Guerrero tries with the hook off the jab. It was a nice jab by Ortiz, as you mentioned, Joe, right to the body. And just a nice little probing jab, trying to get his range. Ortiz has a nice arsenal, and again, he's 34. A nice combination there by Guerrero. Moving on the way in, showing a little fire.
Right. Holding him.
Guerrero's 4-0 in competition against southpaws. Undefeated. He's never lost to a southpaw.
Nice combination there by Guerrero. Ortiz fires back. You might remember Ortiz had that bizarre loss to Floyd Mayweather. Was boxing reasonably well when he dropped his hands to apologize for a headbutt. Now, Floyd's not a dirty fighter, but he will take any gift you're willing to give him, and he knocked Ortiz out.
I think it was too long of an apology, and then, you know, Mayweather just said, well, okay, that's enough for me, you know.
Just touch gloves. Final 40 seconds of round number 1. Robert Guerrero with the combinations, and another combination there outlanding Ortiz after Ortiz had some initial success.
Yeah, that's where Victor's good, right there. He threw, you know, 3 nice shots, you know, 2 to the body and then 1 to the hook, just like that. He repeated it twice.
Yeah,
he's good. He's got good balance on the inside there.
Use your head.
Final seconds, round number 1. This is the co-feature. The main event is next. Manny Pacquiao, Yordenis Ugas. Ortiz keeping it at close range as we end round number 1. Joe, you had a good outing with Chris Arreola last time out.
There he is.
Made a really nice run at Andy Ruiz. Had Ruiz in trouble a number of times.
Yeah, well, second round we had Ruiz down. Third round we had him out on his feet, and Ruiz, of course, was in great shape and made it a dogfight. It was a really good fight, competitive fight, and he looks good. Chris looks really good. There's Leo.
Leo Santa Cruz, multi-division world champion. I hope we see him back.
But
and you're right, Ugas against Omar Figueroa. Think of his last 3 fights. Omar Figueroa, Mike Dallas Jr., Abel Ramos. 3 good, solid, top 15-ish fighters. And he won going away on all 3.
Absolutely.
Made it look easy. Round number 2.
Let him out, let him out. Let's go.
And we had a headbutt there. Nice shot there by Ortiz. So we had a clash of heads. This was in the first round as you look over to the left-hand side.
Let's go.
So we took a close look at that.
Right.
So we've got good action here in round number 2. They just were collided right there, so it's fairly even now. And you can see Guerrero starts to take control, but then a quick flurry from Ortiz, and it changes around.
You know, the thing about it is both guys are serious. See, they're not just coming back to have some fun. They're coming back because they want to establish themselves again somehow, some way. And look, the winner of this fight will have another opportunity.
Right.
So they're serious. They train very hard. You got Freddie Roach in one corner. You got Guerrero in the other corner, the father of Robert. You got Ruben Guerrero there. These are serious men, and they're serious trainers, and they want to win.
Guerrero staying busy right now. Again, he's 38 years old. He's got to dig deep. Get something here against Ortiz. Ortiz now gets him into the corner. Landing shots.
Watch your head coming in. Behind the head.
Ortiz, I called a fight, Joe, that he had against, it was on Fox years ago, 2016, against Andre Berto. He looked fantastic in that fight. Knocked Berto down in the second round. It was dominating, but then he got drilled and knocked out in the fourth round.
Yeah.
Again, infuriate. Sometimes you just want, it's like, wow, you had that fight. What happened?
You know, well, because Andre Berto was in there with him, and you know that has something to do with it. Andre Berto was a lightning quick, you know, furious fighter who was is a tremendous athlete. He's worked out at my gym over.
Victor was lighting him up, though, Joe. Lighting him up.
Yeah, I know that, but things change. Just like in the Mexio fight, you know, things change in one punch.
Yeah. I didn't see it that way. Anyway, here, round number 2.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Who won the fight?
Yeah, but I see Victor has trouble finishing these fights. He has these moments of excellence, and if he had just stayed and boxed, I think he wins that fight going away.
Yeah, like I said, Berto has something to do with it. But, you know, right now, we got a dogfight right here. We got two guys that are in great shape. You can tell they're in good shape, and they're using all of their skills and all their experience to try to win these rounds. And, you know, right there, good exchange by both guys.
They are letting it fly. Beautiful uppercut from Guerrero. And Ortiz, his head snaps up. Now he starts to weave, tries to get out of trouble, moving his head, trying to stay in there. Can he trade with Guerrero? Guerrero throwing some hard shots.
Listen on the break.
Jab and a combination from Ortiz.
Wow, what a great round by these two veterans, and they are veterans. Man.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to step out a little bit and let them run into shit. You did good. You shut him down. Ya está cansándose el güey. That's why he's throwing hard, because he's trying to throw everything he's got. All right? Let's box him. Jab him. Boom, boom. Let him run into some nice jabs. Boom, boom.
All right, here we go. Here's Guerrero. Nice left uppercut. That really didn't do Victor much good, but he's getting clipped with good shots. Here's another left uppercut. Missed with the right hook. There's another angle of it. Boom. Left hook, or left uppercut, right hook. And then a little counter shot. Right, and here we go. Here's Ortiz. He gets his lick in right there. See, that's it. It's a left hook, left straight left hand that didn't land solidly, but the hook did.
That was a combination to reclaim some glory for Robert Guerrero. Inspired. As we get into round number 3, you see the T-Mobile Arena filling up for Manny Pacquiao, Yordenis Ugas. That fight is next. Round 3, two old, formerly retired, proud veterans going head-to-head here, and you see what the Ghost has left. Robert Guerrero letting it fly in round number 2. Again, he's had an interesting world-class resume, Guerrero. He won a featherweight belt in 2006. He beat an aging Joel Casamayor 2010. Moved up to lightweight. Joe, he had quality wins. Michael Katsides, Selchuk Aydin, names that might not resonate now, but at the time, those were world-class wins.
And of course, when I had Casamayor in his prime at my gym, Robert Guerrero came out when he was 17 years old and started training at my gym. And who knew he'd end up years later fighting his mentor, so to speak.
By the way, Guerrero then beat Andre Berto, who we were just talking about, and then he was picked to be Floyd Mayweather's first opponent back from one of his retirements. So that was the high-profile bout up against Floyd, and Floyd's return. And right here at the age of 38, try to go back. Look, he's had big fights. Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, he lost those. Had a war with Yoshi Kamagai, where they broke punch records. So Guerrero has been through it, and he's back for more and fighting well tonight.
And Victor just landed a nice chop left hand on the inside and a right hook to the body off of Guerrero.
Watch your head coming in.
And the great, referee Mike Ortega, who's been around forever. He's smart. He stays out of the fight. He'll inject himself when he has to, and he just warned Victor Ortiz to watch his head on the inside.
Halfway through round number 3, and look, we know what we're looking at here. Look, Guerrero, I thought against Omar Figueroa 2017, we called that fight for Fox. That was at Nassau Coliseum.
Right.
Guerrero got knocked down 5 times by Figueroa. He was beaten pillar to post. At the end of that fight, he said, "It's time for me to walk away." But he came back, unretired a year and a half later, and he's won 2 fights since. So now he gets Victor Ortiz, who he figures, hey, good name on the resume. He wants to come back. I'll come back too.
Right. No, it's hard to step away from this game when you still feel like you've got something left.
Ortiz digging it.
Even if you have a bad fight like he did against Omar Figueroa.
Guerrero right back, jumping back in nicely. Tried to time Ortiz and keep the pressure on. Now there's a little blood trickling down. Is that from the forehead of Victor Ortiz? I believe it is. I don't know if they had a clash of heads, maybe from a punch. That's over the eye now. You can see over the right eye of Ortiz.
It's the right eye of Ortiz, and whether it happened by a punch or a head, it's going to be hard to figure it out.
Guerrero digging to the body.
Let him go, let him go.
Ortiz trying to protect that eye.
Listen for the break. Box.
Final seconds of round number 3 here in Las Vegas, the co-feature.
And that's why Mark Ortega, the referee, he saw this coming, and that's exactly what happened. You know, it was a coincidental, clash of heads. Guerrero maybe coming in a little bit hotter, but looks like they got the, I think they have, let's see who the cut man is over there. That's Mike Rodriguez. He's one of the best in the country, so.
He's working every fight.
Yeah.
He works every fight that he's at.
Yeah.
By the way, I would say, Joe, in round 4 now, this is spirited. Look, I know these guys had retired, they'd stepped away, and maybe it's best, but they're coming back, they're giving it their all right now.
No, they don't look like they're washed up guys. I mean, they're not fighting like that. I think they're fighting like guys that train really hard. Again, being represented by quality trainers that wouldn't be in the corners with them if they thought they didn't have something left, They wouldn't do that to themselves or the fighters. So, they believe in their guys right now, and we'll see who wins this fight. Because the winner is going to go on and make a few more bucks and maybe have a fight with some prestige attached to it.
And be part of the scene, Joe. I think even we had the fighter meetings this week. They enjoyed that part. They're smiling. They're enjoying it. Once you step away from it, I think you realize all the things you miss, and you miss being part of the scene of a big fight. So they enjoyed that this week.
Yeah, who would ever think that you'd miss getting hit, but they do, That's why they're special people, fighters.
See the punches landed there. It's still very close according to the CompuBox stats, 51 or 52 to 47. Body shots also fairly even. For Robert Guerrero, first fight in nearly 2 years. For Ortiz, he's been away 3.5 years. Both fighting on the inside again. Uppercut missed there. Little right hook there from Ortiz. By the way, I just got word, Joe, that Mark Magsayo was down on all 3 cards when he got that knockout win. He was down 87-82, 86-83 twice. Wow. When he knocked out Julio Ceja. How about that?
But it makes a little bit of sense. I mean, you could see it that way. Ceja really put a...
You're taking control.
Yeah, he took control at a certain point in that fight, and until Magsayo really took it back from him.
Good exchanges here and good body work by Ortiz. Both digging in and whacking at each other, and good body shot there. Ortiz, his punch is a little shorter, a little crisper, a little closer to the body. Guerrero trying to move his head, get it out of harm's way.
Step back.
As both men slow up just a little bit. So it would take a lot for Guerrero to get that fire that he had in that combination. It is one thing when you see some 22-year-old kid that we've seen earlier throw a 7-punch combination. It takes a lot of energy when you're 38.
This is a real grind fight. They're both grinding each other right now, and it's a lot of give and take. Let's see who busts out in the next few rounds. It's a dangerous fight for either guy.
Look, if we see Terrence Crawford, Sean Porter, I would love to see that fight. Imagine the top guys all fighting each other. How about that?
I'd like to see Sean fight anybody. Why? Just think back to that Spence fight, what he did. He had that 20,000 seat arena on their feet. He was amazing that night. And when the chips are down, Sean Porter will perform.
Round number 5. This has been a close fight. Larry Hazard is here to help us out with it. Larry, how do you have it scored?
Well, after 4 rounds, Brian, I got Ortiz ahead, 39-37. These 2 guys been down the road. 2 guys, a very even fight. And they were actually going 1 for you, 1 for me up until around round 3. Then Ortiz started to come on. I gave him round 3 and 4. So I have Ortiz ahead, 39-37. at this point.
Larry, thank you so much. That's well put, because it's not like any man's gaining a big advantage, except for that one, flurry from Guerrero, where he had extended success. His left eye, Guerrero's eye, is also closing up.
Yeah, it's pretty much closed. You've got Ortiz's right eye reopened again, bleeding a little bit, not as bad as it could be. And then you've got Guerrero's left eye shut completely, practically completely. And let's see if the cut man in Guerrero's corner can open that up. Because you got to use it's a piece of metal called an end swell, and they push the blood out to the side, and they try to relieve the swelling by moving it out from the area and freezing it with the end swell. So let's see if they can do that. I've reopened eyes that have been shut before with an end swell if you use it correctly.
It's a skill. It's a real skill.
Yeah, you have to be shown how to use it correctly.
Been multiple headbutts in this fight, as both men are jumping in an awful lot, and they're fighting at close range as well. Ortiz trying to dip down low, but he eats a shot. Guerrero, this thing's slow down.
Watch your head coming in.
It's going to be a battle of wills.
Good uppercuts by Guerrero right there. It's really a lot of tit for tat. It really is. Both guys they're getting back. They get touched, they're getting it back.
Guerrero gets a little bit of more room there with that left uppercut. He's able to land it. Trying to move it in here, and Ortiz trying to smother those shots.
Yeah, he really is. He's
holding.
He's really bowling, Guerrero on the ropes here, putting his shoulders into his chest and his head. He knows how to maneuver on the inside, Ortiz.
Well, we're almost filled up here now. I'm looking around the T-Mobile Arena. This thing's slowed up, getting ready for the main event. And this place is going to erupt. But here two veterans, Guerrero and Ortiz. Slowing down now in the mid-range. Good body shot, but an answer from Ortiz.
Great
with a right hook to the head. Yeah, Ortiz is a talented fighter.
Don't push him down. Let's go.
We're going to take a closer look at Robert Guerrero's eye and see exactly what he's up against there, as that eye seems to be closing up. Yeah, that is almost nearly closed up completely.
Yep.
And we've had multiple headbutts through 4 different headbutts in this fight, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this is what happens when you get a couple southpaws in there together too. There's the third one right there. And there's another one, see? And they're just an inch apart too when that's happening. So, it doesn't take much room. You don't need a lot of room to get hit by a headbutt. And again, 2 southpaws in there, it's unusual. Southpaws are usually fighting right-handers, so the whole way they maneuver on the inside is different, and it's causing a lot of clashes right here. Now here's a beautiful shot by Guerrero. Another left uppercut. That's not the first one he's landed in this fight.
Right. Round 6. Victor Ortiz in the white trunks, Robert Guerrero in the red. Guerrero, 38 years old, again, has been out of the game 2 years. Ortiz, his last fight against Devin Alexander was a draw February of 2018. See, the punches landed in favor of Robert Guerrero, as Ortiz able to get a little more vigor on his shots. I mean, it will come down to, Joe, the level of energy down the stretch.
Yeah, exactly.
Who has what?
I agree with that.
Look, Ortiz has a little surge here now. You can see it. Heidi Androl was listening in on the corner, and Guerrero was telling his father, I can see. It's almost closed up, but not completely.
Not completely, and look, you can still see out of the slit. It looks sometimes worse than you'd imagine. You can see more than you think. And again, if you get that ice cold piece of metal on there, the end swell, it can reduce the swelling over the course of the rounds. And then if you move it again in that outside direction, moving the blood out of there, it can relieve the swelling there too. So it's a few things. It might come back, or it just might have to fight with that little slit the rest of the fight.
70% of this fight fought at close range, and as both fighters start to tire, I think that's only going to continue. That number might go up. They are comfortable fighting on the inside. Both think they can have success. Ortiz, nice prodding jab there. Another jab to the body by Victor Ortiz. Ortiz is an accomplished thespian, Joe.
Right.
He's been in Expendables 3, Ray Donovan. He's pretty good.
Oh,
he
yeah.
wants to build on that, but missed the fight game, missed the action.
Funny enough, Victor Ortiz and I shared the stage one time.
Did you? On what?
Family Feud. Yeah, he was the team leader for Celebrity Family. We had a whole box slew of.
Who else was with you?
Oh, it was Rafael Reles, Victor Ortiz, Ray Mercer.
Ray Mercer. Wow.
Oh yeah, Ray Mercer.
Hey, Southpaw, he's in that as well. Dancing with the Stars, the IMDb page,
right,
of which you're familiar. You and all your actor friends out in Hollywood.
Hey, I'm out. Break.
And the 6th round, little lull in the action here, getting ready for the main event. And again, it'll be who has what left. And again, Guerrero is 4 years older than Ortiz.
And Lamont Brewster, by the way, was the last cadet thing.
I don't want to leave out Lamont.
Other former heavyweight champion.
Ortiz trying to smother these shots, moving forward. That was a nice left hand to the head. Ortiz able to make some hay. And to your point, like, they're going to have something happen here in order to become a viable opponent for somebody. And again, the welterweight division is a solid 15 deep world class. Again, there's excellent welterweights that aren't even in the top 10 that you'd see in main events, like Jamal James of Minneapolis.
Yeah.
And everyone needs guys to fight. And it could be one of these two with some success.
Yeah, they got the welterweights. They have a deep bench, as they say in baseball, right, Brad?
Yep.
But I like that. I like that gentlemanly handshake at the end of that round with Victor Ortiz.
There's respect between the two.
It really was.
Absolutely right. And I mentioned it before, but even outside of the top 10, you have a guy like Amantis Stanionis, who I thought was fantastic on our air a few weeks back. And he's number 10. And then Jamal James, Abel Ramos.
Great.
Ramos, who fought very hard again. By the way, lost a split decision. We didn't agree with that against Ugas.
That's right.
But he fought hard. Mikey Garcia isn't even in the top 10. So, again, there's been a welterweight crash with those young fighters. Virgil Ortiz, Stanionis, Boots Ennis, who you've had your guys go up against.
Yeah.
And at the very top of the food chain, it's Errol Spence Jr. And hopefully Terrence Crawford will be able to break through and maybe get a fight against one of these PBC fighters and stars like Sean Porter. Ugas has a belt. They'll fight for the WBA belt tonight. They're top 5 welterweights. I haven't called it a championship fight, because I think I would have called it a championship fight if Errol Spence was in there. You have to have some consistency.
Yeah, and I will tell you on that list, you said it last time, but not this time, Jaron Ennis, he's the sleeper. Oh, yeah. To me,
there's star talent on the rise, boy.
Yeah. He, like I say, he's a welterweight in a middleweight's body. It's huge. Young.
And Stanionis, I thought, was just tremendous on our air.
Oh,
and you've seen him before. He was on the undercard when you had Lipinets against Ennis. Here, round number 7, scheduled for 10. I think slowing down a bit between these two. But Guerrero giving it his all. Ortiz just a little springier. But look at that, punches landed, dead even. I'm sure Larry Hazard has it reasonably close as well.
Why don't you ask him?
I could. Larry's right there. Larry, how do you have it scored?
Now I got Ortiz, 58-56, slightly ahead.
Thank you, Larry. That's your Annie Hall moment. I happen to have Marshall McLuhan right here. You know nothing of my work.
Let him out.
That went over a lot of people.
That's our demographic only.
Right.
It's like fighting a phone booth. What? See the eye closing there for Guerrero again. Just so game. And you know what? In that fight against Omar Figueroa, he had to be beaten down and convinced to stop. He would not stop fighting.
And he got dropped. How many times did he get dropped?
Five times.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, Omar Figueroa is a rough character, and he can punch. He's heavy-handed, just like his brother Brandon. Yeah, very heavy-handed.
Final minute of round number 7. This thing slowed down here a bit once again. Big crowd here at the T-Mobile Arena. Brian Kenny and Joe Goosen here ringside. Got Heidi Androl and Jordan Plant, Larry Hazard, our unofficial scorer, and upstairs, Kate Abdo, Sean Porter, and Keith Thurman. Sean is going to join us down here for the main event. Oh yeah, we got to make room, Joe.
There's plenty of room here, bro.
Yeah, we got room. By the way, could have a big fall. Just talked about Caleb Plant going up against Canelo Alvarez. Canelo, the negotiations had broken down, and Joe, they picked back up. Eureka. And they will fight November 6th, and in October, the heavyweight championship of the world. It was pushed back, but it is on schedule. So we will see Tyson Fury go up against Deontay Wilder, heavyweight champion of the world, against the former champ.
Between tonight, Caleb Plant, Canelo, Fury, Wilder, those are it's an incredible way to close out.
Thoughts on Fury and Wilder? Now that Wilder, I thought, could really benefit from a little more time. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think he got it. I really like the idea that Malik Scott, a former fighter that I used to train, I love Malik Scott, is now the trainer for Deontay Wilder. I think he's going to bring a lot to the table. Heavyweight fighter, he's fought everybody. He fought Deontay, as a matter of fact, in Puerto Rico. And he's been all over the world sparring. He's a very intelligent guy. I think the revenge factor is very big for Deontay Wilder. I just think it's I think it's going to be a different Deontay Wilder showing up.
Well, I think there's a better chance of that with a little more time. Remember that court order came down because Fury was going to go to Anthony Joshua, who has a number of the belts in the heavyweight division. He's a titleist as well. He should be dealt with at some point. He's got to get into the mix as we get into round 8. But it happened very quickly. By the time the court order came down, and then it was the injunction granted and the fight was announced, and Tyson Fury getting COVID pushed the fight back, and I thought, gives Deontay Wilder a little more extended time in the gym to get ready and get his mind ready as well.
I think he needed that time. Because he has to learn some things that Fury's going to bring to the table. He's going to have to defend against offensively and defensively, and I think Malik Scott knows exactly what those are. And if Wilder is receptive to his instruction, it's going to be real beneficial in this fight against Fury.
October 9th, heavyweight championship of the world. And here, Guerrero and Ortiz. And you know what? Again, we know what we're looking at. But I also thought, probably what you thought, Joe, hey, this is evenly matched. Two old warriors coming back, and it's turned out it has been. Now, not a lot of energy left on these guys, but someone is going to get a chance to win this fight, and still 3 rounds to go.
And they're kind of both doing the same thing. You know what I mean? The styles are almost identical. They're both inside fighters for the most part at this stage of the game. They've got certain skills that they're applying in this fight, and they're both being effective to a certain point, and it's a lot of give and take because they're both smart old veterans, and they know what to expect, and they know what's coming back at them. So that's why the give and take is in play here. And it's kind of a hard fight to judge right now. Even Larry Hazard had it very close.
I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, you've got to be, if I have to have a high level of concentration against scoring each round, there's not a lot of separation. Right, it's a good way of saying it. You see the punches landed, there's no separation. 102 to 102.
It's a safer fight on the inside, to tell you the truth at this point. If they were both winging them from arm's length distance, you'd be seeing guys get clipped, maybe drop, hurt, more staggered. Here, at least you can feel what's coming and you sense what's coming, and you can protect yourself a little bit better on the inside. It's actually safer. A lot of people don't realize that the inside can be safer.
Ortiz able to throw an uppercut there, but he's answered back Guerrero with a right hand strafing across, and he's able to whack him in the head on the way back. It comes down to the level of conditioning now, and really what's left of the fighting spirit for these two old warriors. Ortiz again, he's only 34, but there's, I think I've used this phrase before, miles on the odometer. Again, they've been through a lot in his life, been a lot, and again, long amateur career, successful amateur. So just a lot of rounds in the gym. But coming back at 34 and 2 rounds left to try to make something of himself and make a comeback on the welterweight scene. Now,
yeah, that's a great question, but it's hard to ever underestimate Manny. I think he trained really hard. I think you're going to see a really good Manny Pacquiao tonight, maybe even better than his last fight. I keep contending. He looks better physically.
Says he trained harder.
Yeah.
Body shots dead even here in this one through 8. We're in round 9 now. Victor Ortiz, Robert Guerrero. Guerrero in the red trunks. Ortiz in the white, getting ready for the main event. That's next. Manny Pacquiao and Yordenis Ugas.
All right, now they started winging from the outside a little bit, at least in the first few seconds of this round, and this will give the crowd a little bit more excitement. And plus, see, you can get hurt. You saw that long left hand. That's what can happen when you're at length. You know, when you're on the inside, you can kind of, maneuver your body.
Nullify that power.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the punches, as you pointed out, is well put. You can extend, you can snap a little bit more, and there'll be a little more action from these two. Now they slow down. Again, there's the burst of energy at the start of the round. Guerrero now up on his toes, trying to move around a little bit. Guerrero able to, got caught actually there by Ortiz springing in. Guerrero goes to work.
Oh, that was a nice combination by Guerrero, and then a great counter hook by Ortiz.
Ortiz's punch is just a little shorter. He can counter nicely. They're not going to break any CompuBox records here tonight between these two, but they want to get back on the scene. Crowd is less than thrilled. Hey, the main event is next. Get something to drink, sit down, and get ready. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing after this. It's a main event. That's it.
You know, these two guys have given us some great years. I'd have a hard time booing or being disgruntled with this fight. They're giving it their all. They train hard. They've given us a lot of great years, a lot of great fights, and given a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I'm going to applaud them for their effort tonight.
An honest effort for both fighters coming in. Look, it is what it is. Level of energy is just there. After what we just saw with Mark Magsayo and Julio Ceja, you're not going to top that. And even Carlos Castro, Oscar Escandon.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen wars here today in Las Vegas. One is on the way. The big test here, Dennis Ugas. Again, he has been dominant against a very high level of competition. But at the very highest, did come up short. Split decision loss to Sean Porter in a very close fight. What can he do against Manny Pacquiao? We'll find out next. Combination there by Guerrero. Ortiz forces him back into the corner. Final 20 seconds, round number 9.
I don't know. I think Guerrero's probably landed the better punches this round. It's kind of hard to tell, but I think he has. I think he landed those good shots at the beginning of the round.
He's out connected him 18-7, Joe, so you're onto something.
Okay.
Right. That's CompuBox would agree with you. One more round to go. We'll go to the corners.
Okay, you got him already. Use the shit out of him. I want you to box the fuck out of him in the inside. Come in the ears, boom, 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 boom. Outside, boom, 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 boom. Bap, bap, bap. Now this is your goal. This is the mountain that you ran. In and out, hands up. None of that's not. Combination from the outside, boom, boom. There we go. Yeah, let's be busy this round. Let it all go.
Let's win this fight. Come on. Jab, jab, overhand left. Jab, jab, overhand left. Okay? His eyes closed. Let's go.
So Mike Rodriguez, of course, did a great job. That bleeding is stopped on Ortiz. And as I said, the eye has kind of reopened on Guerrero considerably. Bob Santos did a great job with the end swell. This is the last round here, so it's a little meaningless, but he's kept him in the fight, kept that eye open. And here we go. Let's see who wins this round. Whoever wins this may be needed to win this fight.
Final round, they're letting it fly. See who has left and how much. The initial flurry. Everybody's got 30 seconds of fight in them, Joe. Let's see if they can go 3 minutes.
I don't. But,
15 to 20. I'm sure you do.
10 to 12. But,
all right.
Yeah, these guys have really given it their all. For their age, for the time they've been out of the ring, for the amount of fights they've had and blood spilled in this ring, they've given an honest effort, that's for sure.
Both came out with what energy they had left. But there's still room in it. Very well could go down to this final round. See the punches landed. Guerrero with a slight advantage now. Not by much. Larry Hazard, how do you have it scored going into the final round?
Oh, boy. Well, right now, I got Ortiz up by 1 point, 86-85. You know, he's smothering Guerrero's shots, and he gets his shots in.
Yep.
And that's the only reason why he's ahead right now. He's just outworking Guerrero a little bit. He's making Guerrero look like an older, worn fighter. So I got him ahead by 1 point.
Yeah, it's close though, Larry. Thank you so much. You got a 1 point swing. That's nothing.
Like I said, it probably will come down to this round. Look, if Ortiz has had the first part of this round, Guerrero needs the second part of this round. Let's see if he turns the heat on Ortiz.
Tim Cheatham, Glenn Feldman, David Sutherland are the judges for this. I just have one quick question. Is it less than optimal to have Freddie Roach in the corner for the previous 2 fights while Pacquiao's in the dressing room?
That's a good question. I never liked it myself. You know, I like being with my fighter.
Usually you might have 1 in that final 4, but usually not the last 2 before this fight.
Yeah. although they've been together for so long, it's like it's not like they haven't done this before.
And yet, actually, it's better to be in there. Look, they know the dance, and Pacquiao doesn't need a pep talk, as I mentioned earlier.
If I was the main event, had a big fight like this, I'd really want it to be the only fight I had that night.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's not how it always works when you got a gym full of fighters that are on the card.
So I'm saying it's optimal. This is maybe it's less than optimal, might not
that's right.
factor into anything. Final 30 seconds here in this fight. 10th and final round. Robert Guerrero, Victor Ortiz. And we should see maybe the last burst. There's Guerrero lighting it up with what he has left. Ortiz smothers him. Guerrero trying. You know, maybe that sort of thing is enough to make an impression upon the judges. Just a little flurry.
Sometimes it's the last few seconds that do it.
There's Guerrero going away. That was a hard left hand that he landed just before the bell. Both fighters giving it what they had. And yeah, I don't know how it's going to swing on the judges' cards, Joe. I really don't. If Larry Hazard has it a one-point fight, these three judges could have it right there.
What if it's a draw? Do they do it again?
Guerrero, Ortiz, 3. Be a series of fights. I don't think so, but to your point, a man with a W here has a bit of juice on the open market.
A little bit, yeah.
To say, hey, look,
right.
just got this win. I came back.
That's right.
And look, it's a dangerous position against one of these young guns coming up in the welterweights, but they are a name on the resume. For better or worse, that's how it works. And good respect there from Guerrero and Ortiz. Guerrero never threw less than 50 punches in any round, so he did work. See, the punches landed, according to Copybox, 142 to 127.
Yeah.
And Guerrero throwing 650 punches, throwing 507 power punches as well. Again, nullified a lot, Joe, is at close range, but he was throwing.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, it was a lot of give and take. It turns out, punch stat, that Guerrero threw more.
Could be an interesting decision. Again, it's not easy. These, you know, that's why when we see one we don't agree with, we try not to go ballistic because it is difficult. And here's a good example of where either way you swing.
Yeah.
And maybe you thought Guerrero just did enough in almost each and every round. You could have it wide. Doesn't mean Ortiz was never in the fight. It means he just lost a lot more rounds.
No, right.
That said, we don't know which way it went. Jimmy Lennon knows, though. He's got, he does have the scorecard. Jimmy Lennon Jr. is in the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of action, we have a unanimous decision as all three judges scored about the same, 96 to 94. All three in favor of the winner, Robert the Ghost Guerrero.
And that makes sense, doesn't it, Joe? I mean, it's that close, 96-94, and just barely for Robert Guerrero, who seemed to do a little more work. Not an awful lot more, but he outthrew Ortiz by 150 punches, so maybe that was enough. Joe Goosen having a conversation here ringside. Again, it was close. What were they saying, Joe?
Well, I mean, Bob Santos was, you know, I used to train Robert and taught him a few things, and he goes, all that inside fighting was, you know, I contribute to you. So, you know, I mean, look, he was giving me a compliment, and I appreciate that. Yeah,
and but the decision, it seems to make sense. You know, if it swung back the other way, I wouldn't be outraged, but it seemed to make sense.
But the last thing I'll say is it did come down to the last round, didn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.